It felt good to be out there. I thought we started really well. I thought we were competitive. I thought we played with energy in the first 5 minutes. And then, when they kind of went on their first run, it kind of deflated us a little bit, which I'm not really sure why. I felt pretty good. I was trying to play, shorter stints, but, sometimes it's almost harder to sit on the bench and then come back into the game. So I was just kind of finding a balance of that. But, you should look yourself in the mirror and find ways where you can get better and come back to practice tomorrow and then play again on Friday. I'm just trying to get my legs under me there in the fourth quarter and get my win back a little bit, which will come over the next few games. But, yeah.
What's the real story behind Caitlyn Clark's comeback? Why is everyone buzzing about this new footage from her practice? Today, we break down her first steps back on the court after a tough injury, and why this scrimmage might be a sign of something big for the Fever. Could this be the start of her next legendary chapter? Caitlyn Clark isn't just back, she's already turning heads.
So this was Caitlyn Clark's return to the Indiana Fever. She has been out with a groin injury. She started the game and Lexi Hall lost her starting spot to Caitlyn Clark. That Caitlyn Clark was playing off the ball quite a bit, and I feel like if you've been a fan of Caitlyn Clark, if you've watched her play, she just doesn't really do well playing off the ball. She ended the night with 10 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. She was 2 for 5 from the 3 and 4 for 12 from the field.
This practice footage, it's all anyone can talk about right now, and for good reason. After weeks on the sidelines with a groin injury, missing 10 straight games, it was easy to wonder if the Caitlyn Clark everyone knew, the electrifying leader, the offensive force, would show up the same way. The Fever had been struggling without her, struggling to find their rhythm, and you could feel that absence on the court. She wasn't just missing, the team's momentum had stalled without her. And now, this practice may have answered every question lingering since. Picture this. It's a practice, but it definitely doesn't feel like one. The gym is packed with season ticket holders, the energy buzzing, not a casual buzz, but a charged atmosphere. Like a playoff game just might break out at any moment.
I'm not necessarily worried. I do think it's an adjustment period no matter whose star comes back and changes the dynamics of a game. They were also only playing her into 3-4 minute spurts to ease her into it. At the end of the day, what I learned from this period the last month or so is that they have a plethora of weapons. Kelsey Mitchell, who has done tremendous scoring the ball. Natasha Howard, who obviously was the MVP of that Commissioner's Cup game.
I think they just need to get everybody on the court together and play together.
Yeah.
Sometimes that reintegration game, that comeback game, is actually a tough one because they've been playing a certain way without her. Now you have to reintegrate her, but only in short bursts.
As Caitlyn steps onto the court for the first time, all eyes lock onto her every move. It's that kind of moment, the kind where people lean forward in their seats. And then her game speaks. The scrimmage footage shows exactly what fans hoped for. Clark moving like she never missed a beat. The confidence in her cuts, the snap in her passes, and those signature deep threes. They're all there. If you didn't know she was coming off an injury, you'd never guess it. It's not just about what she's doing physically, it's the presence she brings. Watching her, it's impossible to not think back to her most iconic moments in college. Like that time she dropped 22 points within 2 minutes in a scrimmage. That spark, that firepower, it's still there. And honestly, her movements now look even more polished.
And even in the first quarter of play, the Indiana Fever had 16 points in the first 5 minutes of play, but they ended the first half with only 32 points. I also just noticed a lot of bad body language on the court, and it wasn't just from one player, it was multiple players on the Fever. So I don't know even what to say. Like some of the stuff, I'm just kind of like, I don't really know what happened. Step back and shoot the 3-pointer, please. There's a difference between a mid-range shot and a shot that's like around the free throw line or closer in, like around the paint area. There's a difference between that and shooting a shot that is 1.5 feet in front of the 3-point line.
Fans and analysts aren't overstating it by calling this practice footage a statement. And the external hype, it's building fast. Ticket demand for her first official game back is so intense that the Dallas Wings moved it to the massive American Airlines Center. Watching Caitlyn out there again feels less like a simple return and more like the start of something powerful, like a fire suddenly roaring after looking out. Everything about it says one thing: the best is yet to come. What does Caitlyn Clark's return really mean for the Fever and their fans? It's bigger than basketball. When she sat out for 10 games after a nagging groin injury, it was more than just a missing player situation. The Fever never fully adapted without her.
I mean, I try to notice as much as I can. I think, when we're successful, it really starts on defense for us. I think when we're disruptive, when we're up in passing lanes, defending hard, active hands, as active as they come, she's going to be aggressive. She's going to pressure you. She's going to have her hands in passing lanes. She's going to cause a little bit of havoc out there, and I think that's exactly what we need. And she's going to pick up full, and I know that well. She guarded me a couple times last year, so I'm in here hours and hours on hours trying to get my body right and do everything I can to put myself in a position to be available the rest of the year, and that's certainly my goal, and I feel good about that. And but yeah, it's definitely challenging. I think it's been so challenging. I think we lacked in that area versus the Sparks. We kind of just let them do whatever they want to. I thought we were a step behind, so I think that has to be intentional for our group going forward. Is like we have to be a step ahead of everything.
And let's be real, how do you adjust when the cornerstone of your team isn't on the court? The loss was felt everywhere, from strategy to chemistry. Even in how the crowd showed up at games, the energy just wasn't the same. During those weeks of absence, you couldn't stop seeing Caitlyn's face off the court, literally. In downtown Indianapolis, her Nike deal had her blown up on a massive JW Marriott building, one of the most talked about ads of the summer. And don't forget her other endorsements with brands like State Farm and Gatorade. She stayed in the spotlight even without stepping onto the hardwood. It's wild when you think about it. Despite being sidelined, her influence didn't fade even a little. But hype is one thing. Getting back and delivering, that's another story, and that's where the Fever need her more than ever. Here's why her return is huge. The Fever's shot at making the playoffs pretty much rests on Caitlyn's shoulders now. The team struggled to close games without her scoring and leadership, and with every loss, their path to the postseason got steeper. But Caitlyn doesn't just answer the question of points per game. She brings an energy that fires up her teammates and, honestly, the entire arena. It's the Caitlyn effect. Fans feel it too. They showed up in numbers for her first scrimmage, and ticket prices for her comeback game are climbing fast. Everyone wants to see what she's going to do next. And if she's anything like the player we saw in college, someone who thrived on big moments, then this return could be a reminder of why she's not just a player to watch, but a generational athlete. The question now isn't just how she'll play, but how she'll elevate everyone around her. What kind of story are we about to witness?
The entire game except the first 5 minutes of the game and then also the first few minutes of the third quarter. So overall, not a great game for the Indiana Fever. They're going to have to bounce back. They have a tough one against the Atlanta Dream on Friday. But with that, you guys, the Golden State Valkyries continue to be a team that is shocking the WNBA. They were a team that a lot of people thought were not even going to make playoffs this year. They came out with the energy. They made the adjustments on offense and on defense. They played hard the entire game. They played physical the entire game.
Caitlyn Clark's return is doing more than putting the Fever back on track. It's igniting something far bigger. This isn't just a comeback. It's a ripple effect you can already see in the way her presence is lifting the team, energizing fans, and shining a national spotlight on women's basketball. The excitement is real, and it's growing fast. If she could inspire record-breaking viewership in college, imagine what she might do now. Her journey is just beginning again, and this isn't only about stats, it's about legacy. So here's the real question. Is this the moment that defines Caitlyn Clark's next chapter?